Sean Diddy Combs. Narcissist, Part 2. Hello, I'm HG Tudor, and we are continuing our examination of Sean Combs to determine what he is. When it comes to the intimate partner relationship history of an individual, this often proves extremely illuminating with regard to ascertaining what a person is. With regard to the issue of narcissism, there are two fundamental things that we look for. The first is the number of intimate partners. Narcissists, particularly those that are somatic and elite, tend to have a lot of sexual partners. This might take the form of moving from one relationship to another, or it might be the case, for instance, that the individual bounces between different partners, the number not being particularly high, but there are lots of on-off relationships with those individuals, a ping-pong arrangement, if you will. In other instances, the narcissist might have one individual that they, in effect, stay with as the intimate partner primary source, but they have repeated affairs. Thus, ostensibly, they appear to have been married to one person for a long time, but in the circumstances, they have had affair after affair after affair, racking up a lot of intimate partner secondary sources. And in the circumstances, that may well indicate the behavior of a narcissist. That behavior shows where they have an anchor, but then cheat, go back to the anchor, cheat, go back to the anchor. The narcissist that moves on from intimate partner primary source to a new intimate partner primary source to a new intimate partner primary source is a nomad. All of those different classes of narcissist can be found within the subschools of narcissist and are indicative of the behavior of a narcissist in terms of showing a lack of accountability, an absence of emotional empathy, a sense of entitlement, treating the other partners as simple objects that are there to be used towards the prime aims and then cast to one side as and when is appropriate. Accordingly, the number of relationships and the dynamic of those relationships can help us determine whether an individual is a narcissist. Alongside the quality or nature of those relationships ought to be examined. Are there reports of abuse? Are the relationships on and off, on and off? Is there noted unpleasantness taking place involving those who are in the relationship? The nature of what went on in the relationship also provides us with information. That isn't always that easy to obtain in certain instances. The narcissist isn't necessarily going to tell on themselves, and the other party, for reasons perhaps related to children or non-disclosure agreements, etc., or pending legal action, may not wish to speak about what has actually happened to them. They may simply just want to keep it private, notwithstanding the fact that they have been abused. Nevertheless, where we are able to obtain information about what goes on in the relationship, that also assists us with those indicators. Now, with Sean Combs, we look at, first of all, some of his dating history. Sean Combs began dating Kim Porter in 1994. The first time I saw her, she was at the studio with her ex-boyfriend, Diddy told Essence, referring to singer Al B. Sure, the father of Kim's oldest child, Quincy, I wasn't trying to holler at her or anything, but I was admiring her, her lips, her eyes, her mouth, her shape, energy, and thinking, I wish I had a girl like that. Somewhat predatory thoughts. She kind of made me nervous, he told Essence. She wasn't like a New York girl. She was bohemian, mixed with Georgia Peach hospitality. I got the idea she'd like doing stuff like walking barefoot in the grass. I didn't think I could get her to like me. She was smooth, you know, like ice. She's cool and collected and thinks before she speaks. You meet a lot of young ladies and they just don't do that. Kim was never pressed. She was always in control. While Kim was in control, Diddy wasn't always in control of his love. Kim and Diddy split in 1999 as he began seeing Jennifer Lopez. Sounds like seamless intimate partner primary sources, a narcissistic indicator. The two rekindled their love in 2003 before splitting for good in 2007. During their time together, Diddy and Kim started a family. They welcomed Christian King Combs in 1998 and twin daughters Delilah Starr and Jesse James Combs in 2006. Diddy would also help raise Quincy, eventually adopting the boy as his son. Kim passed away in 2018 at the age of 46. Next, there is Misa Hilton Brim. Misa Hilton Brim is a designer and stylist credited with putting together some incredible looks from the 1990s, and she's also known as Diddy's high school sweetheart and mother of his son, Justin Combs. Misa and Diddy welcomed Justin in 1993. Since then, they have co-parented their son together. Perhaps the suggestion of them co-parenting in such a fashion supports that there is an emotional empathy between the two, enabling them to do so in a collaborative fashion. Kim, for the last 20 years, we've raised our children together. My mind cannot begin to wrap around the fact that you're not going to be here, Misa wrote following Porter's death. Thank you for being a second mother to Justin and for loving Nico and Madison just the same, she added, referring to her children from another relationship. Diddy had a brief romance with Sarah Chapman in the early 2000s. It was long enough for them to welcome a daughter, Chance Combs, who was born shortly before the twins. Therefore, it would appear that there was some infidelity taking place here, where he had a brief romance with Sarah Chapman when he was actually in a relationship with Kim Porter. The Commission of Infidelity isn't just the preserve of narcissists, but it is seen more regularly with the behaviour of narcissists, demonstrating a lack of accountability, a lack of emotional empathy, and a sense of entitlement. Thereafter, he was in a relationship with Jennifer Lopez. One of the highest profile romances of the late 90s, early 2000s was that of Sean Combs and Jennifer Lopez. In 1999, Sean began dating J-Lo while he was still with Kim, which triggered the split, again demonstrating infidelity. J-Lo and Diddy stayed together for just 2 years. The Puffy era was just kind of a crazy heightened time in my life. You know, Puffy and I both grew up in the Bronx, J-Lo told The Breakfast Club in 2019. He had been in the music business and had all this success. I was just starting and making my first album when I met him. He became a kind of mentor to me in that moment. We had this kind of crazy, tumultuous relationship that ended in a bang. But as I've explained to you elsewhere, Jennifer Lopez is a narcissist. Might the crazy, tumultuous nature of the relationship arose because of her being a narcissist, or was this a case of two narcissists colliding? It was definitely a moment, but I felt it was necessary, she added. He was meant to be in my life at that moment to teach me what I needed to know about the music business, about what kind of artist I wanted to be in the music industry. Shows the somewhat grandiosity and magical thinking of J-Lo. The couple announced their split on Valentine's Day 2001. Mr. Combs confirmed that he and his partner, Jennifer Lopez, have in fact broken up. His publicist said at the time per Newsweek. Mr. Combs is confirming this today, as he wanted to pull all the rumours surrounding their relationship to rest. J-Lo would later say in an interview that she ended things because she had never had the family life she wanted with the rapper. Plus, there was also the drama of the December 1999 nightclub shooting. More on that in due course. For a hot second, Diddy was romantically linked to one of the most beautiful women in the world. Dating rumours swirled around Diddy and Naomi Campbell in 2001, when the two were photographed together in British Vogue in 2001. It was thought that things went romantic in 2002, but the couple never confirmed a relationship. Next up, there was Cassie, also known as Cassie Ventura, who began dating the bad boy icon in 2007. The on and off romance was mostly secret until 2012. Is this the shelving dynamic with a dirty little secret? The couple went public with their love, which continued until they split in 2018. Diddy was reportedly not interested in putting a ring on Cassie's finger, so she left him. 4 years after that breakup, Diddy released a song about how he had to move on and stop mourning the loss. Is this the utilisation of music for the purposes of hoovering? However, in 2022, he thanked Cassie for holding me down in the dark times when accepting the Lifetime Achievement Award at the BET Awards. Since splitting from Puff, Cassie married Alex Fine in 2019, and the couple welcomed 2 children together. But in November 2023, she filed a lawsuit in New York City, alleging a number of complaints against Mr. Coombs. I'll be returning to those allegations in a later section as they bear examination in detail. In 2008, there was a short-term fling between Diddy and Cameron Diaz, as Weekly reported that Diddy was at a dinner where the subject of Cameron dating Benji Madden came up and said if I could turn back time, things would be different. One of Diddy's most recent love affairs was that of Steve Harvey's daughter, Lori Harvey. The two sparked talk of a romance in July 2019, after they were spotted spending time together. Diddy even joined Lori on vacation in Italy with the Family Feud host and Steve's wife, Marjorie Elaine Harvey. However, the relationship didn't last that long. Lori stopped following Diddy online in October 2019 after he was spotted out with another woman. Gina Huynh, a Los Angeles-based model, was linked to Diddy in 2019. In 2022, following the Billboard Awards, Gina claimed that she and Diddy were giving love a second shot by posting a picture of him kissing her cheek on her Instagram story. This caught the attention of Puff's girlfriend at the time, Young Miami, who called out for somebody, please give this girl some attention. Young Miami was the next. I'm single but I'm dating. I'm just taking my time with my life, Diddy said on June the 9th. In an episode of Carisha Please, the podcast hosted by his then-girlfriend Young Miami. Even though Diddy said he was single, he acknowledged that he and Miami, born Carisha Brownlee, were an item. We're dating. We go and have dates. We're friends, he said. We go to exotic locations. We have great times. You're like one of the realest people I've ever met, and you're authentically yourself, he told her on the podcast. You're a great mother and a great friend. We just have a good time. However, the 29-year-old rapper confirmed in an April 2023 interview with The Cut that she's no longer dating the Bad Boy Records mogul. We're still friends. We're still good friends, she said, but we're single. That's not my man. She further explained that the relationship had been intensely intimate. We were fucking with each other hard. We were together every day at one point, monopolization of time. She said, he supported me, I supported him. I let the internet call it whatever they want to call it. Thus, a breakdown of some of the relationships that Sean Combs was involved in. Numerous relationships which might support the behaviour of a narcissist, and of course, several instances of accusations of infidelity on his part. Apart from the relationship with Cassie, no information is given as to what the relationships were like. No other individuals have spoken necessarily about being abused. But the nature of the relationships doesn't end there, because there is quite a long list of women associated with P. Diddy in terms of having been romantically linked to him. And it includes Leah Remini, Mary J. Blige, Alina Mawala, Mariah Carey, Lisa Left Eye Lopez, Foxy Brown, Blue Cantrell, Sally Richardson Whitfield, Misa Hilton Brim, who mentioned earlier, Sarah Chapman, who's mentioned earlier, Kim Porter, who's mentioned earlier, Lil' Kim, Jennifer Lopez, who's mentioned earlier, Karine Steffens, Emma Hemming-Willis, Naomi Campbell, who's been mentioned, Alicia Duval, Sky Nella, Cassie Ventura, mentioned earlier, Naomi Lenoir, Sienna Miller, Aubrey O'Day, Penelope Cruz, Diana Bianchi, Cameron Diaz, who's mentioned earlier, Natasha Malte, Yazim Ghauri, Amber Rose, Drea Michelle, Kate Upton, Shanina Sheikh, Gina Huynh, who's been mentioned earlier, Jocelyn Chu, Lori Harvey, mentioned earlier, Nicole Olivera, Joey Chavis, Miracle Watts, Daphne Joy, Young Miami, mentioned earlier, Dana Tran, Shantia Joseph, and Jade Ramney. All told, 42 individuals that Sean Combs is meant to have had intimate relationships with. To give that some context, the CDC reports that somebody of his age will have had, on average, 10.7 sexual partners. Therefore, he has quadrupled that amount. In the circumstances, the number of intimate partners that he has had is on the high side, and again is a narcissistic indicator. The fact that many of these relationships are short-lived is a narcissistic indicator. The allegations of infidelity are a narcissistic indicator. We're now going to turn to controversial behaviours from Sean Combs' behaviours and past. Join me there in part 3 for this continued examination.